the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, and what a day we had. To start things off, you obviously started ripping up at market open due to what happened with the CPI report. It came in much lower than anticipated, and the market obviously loved it, just running basically into the FOMC meeting. When the FOMC meeting started, the Nasdaq basically just went back and forth. After the meeting ended, you basically pushed up, came back down, and ended kind of flat here. Now, overall, how do we interpret this meeting moving at the market? We'll go into that here in a sec, but looking at SPY, very similar action, gapped up, pushed up well, then kind of double topped and pulled back a little bit there on the day. So overall, you look really good, in my opinion, at broad markets. That's number one. Okay, so before we go into that, though, I will say tomorrow, just so I don't forget, you do have PPI early in the morning. That is worth mentioning, 8:30, 7:30 Central, an hour before market open, and jobless claims. Very big, very, 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 very big. Please understand that. You have 30-year bond auctions as well. That'll be interesting. But again, that will depend based on this report here. And I think the bond auction, if we look at the 10-year, was very interesting. So it'll give us a little bit more information as well on the dollar as well. Also, too, yeah, that jobless claim, we want to see jobless claims come out higher, preferably. Going into the Fed meeting, I don't even want to go into anything else before I go over to this, okay? So what happened from this Fed meeting? I'm going to give you my overall opinion very quickly, okay? So Powell came out, and it's important to understand the biggest thing coming out here was that they only priced in one rate cut coming into 2024. That was the biggest statement here overall that markets did not like, was one rate cut. Powell mentioned, though, that they had the opportunity to change their opinions, but he said, his words, not mine, that they usually do not change their opinions. So those opinions were given before that data came out on CPI, which was a major shock to everyone in the market and why we started shooting up. What did he say from the rest of that? Okay. The question is whether it's sufficiently restricted enough and going to be one, and we'll know over time regarding rate cuts. But his biggest thing that he was saying was you need to see more than one data pool like this, which is why I think CPI or PPI tomorrow is so big. But again, he kept saying it during the meeting. If you watched our live session here, all he kept saying was, this was surprising. No one expected this. This was shocking. We can't believe what's happening. Shocking. And the thing that I want to say regarding the market and regarding Powell's viewpoint of what happened with the market today is when we came out kind of bearish at the last few meetings because inflation reports haven't been great. Powell continued to say the labor market's holding up, the consumer is strong, and kind of like helped us stay up. And now when the market is coming out and data is coming out as anticipated, I think he's being careful because if you go back to the beginning of the year, Powell was pushing this agenda of we look great, we're looking good. You know, rate cuts were seeming like they were coming quickly on the table. And, you know, going through basically November into January, we had like this, I don't want to say euphoria, but it was the closest thing to it, right? It was a lot of upside going into the early parts of this year, like really fantastic movement, right? We see that from October into basically, you know, April or March was just a straight up shot, no pullback really, right? And now we're kind of getting that again. So I think Powell is trying to be cautious here so people don't put words in his mouth saying inflation is done, and he's just urging caution. But the biggest thing here is the report that came out. And what I will say right now is every time you get a good report regarding PPI, CPI, PCE, I'm telling you right now, the data that is coming out, I'm telling you, you're going to get revisions to the expectations on Fed fund futures and the cuts coming out. Another area is super core inflation, which is something that they didn't even discuss in this meeting, which was kind of bizarre to me. This is like the Fed's like hidden agenda of how they're expecting rates being affected and things along those lines as well. Is you're seeing one of their like secret agendas here again on the downspin, right? Really coming down. So again, across the board, we're seeing inflation move in the direction that we want it to. The only area that's really hurting inflation now is shelter. And it's important to understand, and the Fed will not talk about this, but shelter prices will not drop until they cut rates or mortgage rates start to drop. They won't, because it's way more affordable to rent right now than it is to buy a home. And rents will remain high as long as demand is high. If you go to a grocery store and everyone's buying your favorite flavor of chicken nuggets or whatever you're buying, and they're sold out every time you go, why on earth with the brand of chicken nuggets reduce the price? That doesn't make any sense. The demand is there. Everyone is buying the product. Everyone is renting houses. No one's buying houses as much compared to before. You have to spark buying before you can. This is not logical. So again, if you take core services, excluding shelter, inflation took a major doo-doo to the downside, as you can see there. So again, the markets look extremely good. I'm going to tell you. This also leads me to expect PPI to come out better tomorrow, but we'll talk more about that later. Now, again, before we go any further, let's go into this. Now, I really feel like I could talk about the Fed meeting like all day long because I really believe the Fed meeting with all my heart was very bullish. And he basically was just trying to calm people down. That was the basis of the Fed meeting. It's worth mentioning the market meter, fear and greed index, is still in the neutral territory. You are up slightly on the day to 47, but you're not in greed or extreme greed. So I still think there's upside on the board here as well. We go look at what's happening with the overall indexes. The only index that's not really operating great is the Dow. That's the only one. Everything else looks phenomenal. Like, I mean, look at ES and SPY, like just going straight up, a bull flagging here in the after hours. And I'm going to tell you right now, tomorrow, if PPI comes in lower than expected and prints similar to CPI, which it's possible, I'm telling you, the market's just going to continue. I do think jobless claims are big, but you're set up to continue. That's the biggest thing that I have to highlight here. Like, you don't look terrible. Like, the market dipping is kind of awesome. I think it's another massive opportunity. So understand that. So I do want to spend a better part of this video going into equities and stocks I like, because I was saying yesterday, like, you don't want to buy things at all-time highs. That's not like where you traditionally make your money. But today, like, getting a dip and hopefully dipping into tomorrow, awesome. So again, what we're looking for obviously is PPI to come out good, and same thing with jobs to come out higher than expected. If that happens, stocks I'm looking at, number one, Apple, dude. Dips on Apple, probably the coolest thing ever. What I will say here is you are pretty illiquid right here. This is a little bit of a concern. So if I bring this back, you're pretty illiquid down to 206, 207. If you by some chance get an opportunity, like, I don't know what would do it, but yeah, if PPI comes out really good and somehow Apple dips down to 206, sign me up because I would be buying. Again, this is a smaller time frame when we look at what's happening here with the volume profile, but still something very interesting. But I still think Apple, even at 213, is awesome. I am telling you, they have reset the market. I think Apple is just absolutely gorgeous. I'm a massive fan of where Apple is. I think dated calls make sense too on Apple, but yeah, keep it on the top of your radar. Another stock that I mentioned was Affirm yesterday. I bought it in the after hours. It's kind of sitting flat, 35.7. If data comes out good tomorrow, I'll probably buy more. I bought some options today on AFRM. I'm looking to buy more though on it. So again, I do think this is going to break out. Got that stock, made a good bit amount of money off that. Almost ran 30% into $40 today, so that was cool. But yeah, looking back for a push to 41 and then 46. I really think over the next few months and weeks, AFRM can start getting crazy. Look at the volume on AFRM today. Basically, since the Apple news, pretty crazy, right? It's your highest volume that you've had in since February. Pretty crazy. Who would have thought? Yeah, partnership with Apple, cool. So definitely things that I'd be looking at. You also just had AVGO earnings just come out. They just beat as well, up to $1,600 in the after hours. Kind of absurd when you think about it. Yeah, semiconductors still look really hot as well. Yeah, like I'm telling you guys, like the market looks good. The Nasdaq is loving that as well. Semiconductors continuing. SMH, again, more love in the market. This is what you wanted to see. LRCX, a big name I've been telling you guys about. It's hit 1037 today, so absolutely love that as well. So again, what I'd be looking at in particular, if semis continue their streak and continue their run to the upside, I like Micron in particular. I think it's a cheaper name. I think it's affordable as well. And I think Micron could start running towards 145 plus. So definitely keep this on your watch list. Big bull here as well. If I'm going into option contracts here, number one with Apple, I like August contracts right after their earnings. I think August 16th are nice. You can go towards July 19th if you wanted. They're a little bit cheaper. You're not pricing in Obviously earnings, I think the 220s are juicy. Like you hit 220 today. So crazy to think about. But yeah, going back into something like Micron as well. Big fan of what's happening there. Also, too, guys, someone commented on my Twitter today and was like, "Hey, you told me to buy this, and like I lost money." I'm not telling anyone to buy anything. I'm telling you guys what I'm interested in and what I'm looking for. But yeah, Micron, I think this thing honestly towards July 19th could go towards 150. I think it's a very big possibility. But the stock that was in play yesterday was Enphase, or today, and someone was like, "You told us yesterday it could go to 150." And I was like, first of all, I said after FOMC, which I think if data goes good tomorrow, Enphase is an awesome opportunity. But you gapped up overnight from 132 into 142. You know, I can't control like if you bought on a $10 gap up. Best of luck to you, brother. But yeah, so keep your head up. I don't know what to say. So yeah, another big name I'm watching too is what's happening here with Meta. I don't know why it's not on the top of my watch list. Meta's looking really strong here on higher time frames, like the 1 hour, 2 hour. You're just consolidating up here in the 15-minute as well. You can see you're trying to push back and break above 510. You hold 510, lots of continuation. ARM, one of the best semiconductors out there, 157, pushing all-time highs now. Not surprising. Again, Discord, we've been shouting this out a lot. Discord's had probably one of our best runs ever. Like these guys are just going bananas. Guy made 15K today. This guy on repeat, he's new, been making money. So again, just awesome run over the past few days. But again, it just comes back down to being patient, waiting for those opportunities, like I always say. And you know, dips like right now, I think are big opportunities. So yeah, AVGO though running into 1600, not surprising. It's what we kind of saw coming. Like we expected this type of move if they beat. LRCX though, I'm looking for this thing to start pushing into 1100 for sure. Love the upside there as well. But overall, the market, Microsoft pushing up, breaking all-time highs, really strong as well. The market just looks really good right now, guys. I can continue to say the same thing. I can go over as many equities as possible, but in the end, like I hope you guys follow me on Twitter. Like I'm trying to post as many updates as possible for you guys, but yeah, like I hope you guys just, you know, are catching in. I hope you guys are making money. I hope you guys are doing good in the market right now. So just make sure you understand what you're looking at, what you're focused on, and, you know, do your own due diligence, guys, because at the end of the day, you guys are responsible for your trades. Hope you guys are killing it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we get some more opportunities, right? Right now, it's a little bit cloudy, but again, I love my favorite name right now is Apple. I think Apple is one of the biggest opportunities. I think this thing realistically over the next few months could run towards 240. And I think that you just have so much opportunity in front of you right now. I'm so happy. I hope you guys are killing it as well. Have a good one, traders.